I loved Cowboys. I don't know what I was
Thank you.
expecting when I watched it, but it was amazing. So my first question, there was one thing that Sally said in the movie that I thought was really interesting when she said, "Who would choose to be a woman?" When she was arguing with Troy, and I was just wanting to know from both of your perspectives, how does Sally feel about her own womanhood, and how does that reflect what she tries to force on Joe? If you'd like to speak first, Anna, since it came from you
Oh, I
first.
was going to hand it over to
Oh,
Jillian
well
because
then,
she
Jillian, please.
played the role.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can talk about that. I mean, I think that's deep insight into who she is. I think that she believes that to be a woman, you have to be beautiful, and it has to be um, uh, the feminine side has to be very strong. And when Troy's out having a good time with his kid, all he's seeing is a fun, loving parent while I'm stuck at home. In that speech, she's talking about like cleaning up and cleaning the toilet, doing the dishes, and what example is that for our kid of what a woman should be? And I think for her, she comes from such a place of vanity. The backstory that I kind of talked about with Anna was that she had a few years where she felt like she was kind of a beauty queen, and then she kind of lost it all when she became a parent. And so for her, a part of her like identity was lost when she gave birth. That's what I think. I don't want to speak for Anna or how you feel about the character, but that's kind of how I wrap my head around it, and this resentment she has towards her child. And then it becomes even further of a divide when she finds out that her her kid wants to be a boy.
Yeah, I mean, I remember having the line is actually I'm not like triggered by you getting it slightly wrong,
Sorry.
but the
I failed
line
the
is
city.
actually who would choose to be a girl.
Oh, okay.
But very close, very close. Yeah, I mean, I remember being it's there are things that are just when Sally speaks that line, she's not totally grasping what it means to be transgender. She from her perspective, it's like her kid likes to go, hunting and do all these active things with his dad. And, from Sally's perspective, it's like, yeah, like why would you do the dumb chore stuff? I remember like being in Girl Scouts as a kid, and I just thought everything we had to do was so lame compared to what the Boy Scouts had to do. And I wanted to have I identify I'm cisgender, but just it is true. Like I think there are a lot of women who think it's a lot less fun.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
in the ways that society sort of dictate what it
Mhm.
means to be a girl and what it means to be a boy. And this movie touches on a lot of things. One of them obviously is gender identity. And for me, Sally is a character who struggles against what society thinks she should be, or what she thinks society thinks she should be as a woman. And when her kid comes out, it's, it's how is that going to reflect on her, right? She was going to be this woman with this little girl, and they were going to dress the same and do all these girly things together. And her future, this future that she imagined, is just gone.
I think it's so upsetting too that you find that like parents will sometimes take the place of the worst bully they can imagine. They will sometimes say
Right.
the thing that they fear the most that their kid will hear. And it really would never be as damaging, I think, coming from some, random kid than from the person who birthed you and raised you.
That's so
And
true.
it's
Yeah.
such
Like
an
a lot
upsetting.
of times they'll say, like, they try to force something on you, and they're like, that's because when you go outside, people will say that to you. So I'm trying to stop
Exactly.
that. And I'm like,
Exactly.
Right.
I don't care. They do.
Protection through
Yeah.
bullying.
Right. Anna, what was it that inspired you first to tell this story? What made you want to get it out there?
I have a connection to the part of Montana where we filmed the movie. It's called the Flathead Valley. It's in northwestern Montana. I used to go there as a kid, And I was feeling kind of nostalgic for it. And I knew I wanted to set a movie there. And I just started writing. And the first scene was just this father and son on horseback. And I knew they were running from something. I knew they were outlaws. But I wasn't sure at that point from what. And I just kept writing and writing. And the story sort of revealed itself to me. And it started to make sense as, kind of a modern Western in that, who are the outlaws these days? Like, oh, a mentally ill dad and his transgender son. And I also wanted to make a portrait of a family where everyone was trying their best and society is kind of the villain rather than any one person. And so, yeah, I'm going to stick with that answer.
That's great. Okay. That's a very good response.
Thank you.
Jillian, I feel like there is a lot of love as well as a lot of tension between Sally and Troy. So how do you think she views him and the state of their marriage or separation at the start of the film? And then how much would she attribute to, say, his mental health problems versus her own feelings about Joe?
I think that at the beginning of the film, I always felt like Sally was trying to hold on to this image she has of herself and the image she has of herself, and not only herself, but her family. And, that she has this, scruffy, angsty, goofy guy as a husband, but like she can make it work. And as long as she's kind of number one in his eyes, and then she has this kid and she's going to raise this kid to be a little girl that has matching outfits like her, and she has that image in her head. And when things start shifting, she doesn't know she wants to keep returning it the way, and she's fighting it constantly throughout the film. And I thought that was really interesting. And it isn't until she loses them that she sort of discovers what she initially had.
And Anna, what made Jillian right for the role in your eyes? Because obviously she's has a wide range and presumably is not like Sally in real life.
Yeah,
no.
What did you say?
I said I sent her $100.
I'm that broke. No, I'm kidding. Jillian and I met and discussed the script, and she was so passionate about the role and just really understood Sally and all the things that we're talking about now. Like, it did become a larger conversation about what it means to be a woman, like in America today. And it was just really clear from that she, really, really connected with the role in a way that I was really into. But I think I watched Brittany after that, though. Is that right, Jillian? So I'd seen Idiot Sitter and like loved her in that. And I have a lot of faith in I think it's much harder to do comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell. I mean, whatever. Let's not compare. But I think in general, comedic actors have more range, that at least that's what I've been able to find. And this was also a role where like I didn't want it to feel like heavy and bogged down. I wanted there to be moments of levity and life and the ability for an actor to express humor. And then after I watched Brittany, which is like such an incredible performance on Jillian's part, it was no question.
I mean, I recently watched Godmother, and I cannot I think I even interviewed you for Godmother, but I can't even like in my brain that you were the same person, because the performances are so different and both so believable and wonderful. So, now, what theme or moment in the film, because obviously there's so much to take away as an audience member, but you being part of the film, what was it that resonated most with you?
What did I want people to take away from the
film? Or that you took away from it, because obviously you can't speak necessarily for others, but what did you take away from it?
I think I took away that we are, I mean, Anna said this before, but it's true, like we are in a point in our country where we're very divided, and I feel like often as someone who is a liberal woman who lives in Los Angeles, I'm sort of like, how do you not fight for the underdogs and the guys and the things? And it sort of made me wrap my head around, playing this character who doesn't see things so clearly. Like, how can you come from that spot? And I had to play her in a way that I could understand her, because I couldn't just be like, oh, I'm just a bad guy. And obviously from watching it, that's not what Anna intends. So I sort of had to come to this feeling of this touchstone for me, which was that as a parent, you want your kids to have the easiest and loveliest life possible, and that you never know how society will treat them if they're not following along with some fake norms that we've created. So that's kind of where I centered Sally, and in a sense it opened up my mind to where people can be, because we are, like I said, so divided right now, where people can be coming from. And because if I just think that, one side is right and one side is completely wrong, I don't know how we move forward. So that's kind of what my takeaway was from playing Sally.
I love that. Well, you are both amazing, and I really love the film. So I can't wait.
You are amazing,
Oh, thank
Tatiana.
you. I can't wait for everyone to see it. And I will say the quote right next time. I'm sorry. But
I didn't mean to shame you. I just was like, oh, this is actually like a line that I remember.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye.